Shout out to Christine Brennan. Team USA, y'all need to stop playing. Hold on, wait a second. Y'all will recognize and appreciate Caitlin Clark as the face of this whole get-up. Nobody's checking for these other, no disrespect. Great basketball players, that don't mean people checking for you. You mean to tell me y'all put other people's face all on the Team USA stuff and y'all left Caitlin Clark off of it?
Caitlin Clark's latest controversy with Team USA has turned into one of the most unexpected storms in women's basketball. The entire situation has now reached a point where fans, analysts, media personalities, and even longtime Olympic reporters are left in disbelief. Because what happened isn't just a simple oversight or a casual marketing mistake. It's a deeper reflection of how disconnected USA basketball seems to be from the reality of modern sports culture, fan engagement, and the momentum that has transformed women's basketball over the past year. And when Christine Brennan, one of the most respected Olympic journalists in the world, went public with the story, people immediately understood this wasn't coming from some random social media page or a click-chasing influencer. It came from someone who has been covering Olympic basketball since 1984. Someone who has watched 7 consecutive gold medal runs. Someone who has literally stood in half-empty press seats during games that should have been global events. Someone who understands how sports popularity rises and falls, because she has seen it with her own eyes for 4 decades. And what she revealed shook people, because USA Basketball released promotional materials for their December training camp. And somehow the biggest name in the sport, the athlete responsible for bringing more viewership, more attendance, more merchandise sales, and more cultural attention than the entire league has seen in 20 years, was completely left out of the graphic. Not blurred, not minimized, not placed in small text, just gone. Instead, Team USA showcased Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, and Kalia Copper. 3 strong athletes with impressive resumes. But none of them have generated even a fraction of the attention that Caitlin Clark has brought to the sport in the last 12 months. And that's what made the whole situation feel like a slap in the face to fans. Because Clark drove WNBA ratings up by more than 400% during her rookie season. Clark filled arenas that had been empty for years. Clark brought national and international media to WNBA arenas just to watch her warm up. She made Indiana Fever games appointment viewing. She became the face of women's basketball, without the help of any committee or marketing team. She did it organically. She did it through talent, performance, and cultural impact. She gave the sport the kind of momentum that organizations dream of. And somehow USA Basketball still thought it made sense to leave her out of a promotional graphic for a training camp. Something that should be used to grow interest, build hype, and pull in casual viewers. Christine Brennan said that the moment she released the story at midnight, everything exploded, because she knew how many layers of incompetence were sitting underneath such a decision. She has been talking about declining women's Olympic basketball viewership for a long time. And she even pointed out that in Paris, the women's team saw one of the largest rating drops ever. Hardcore fans tuned in, sure, but the larger sports world, the audience that makes TV networks money, barely paid attention. Meanwhile, during Caitlin Clark's rookie season, the Indiana Fever averaged over 1 million viewers per game. Some games even outperformed NHL and MLB broadcasts. Something that shocked the entire sports industry, because it proved that women's basketball could generate massive national interest if the right star was leading the narrative. And you would think that USA Basketball, the organization responsible not just for winning medals but for growing the sport globally, would see that as a roadmap, a blueprint, a gift. The problem is they didn't. Brennan explained that she has stood in Olympic media areas during gold medal games that should have been the biggest events of the tournament, and she used the word, tumbleweeds. That word alone tells you everything. She said writers didn't even bother to show up because they knew their editors wouldn't feature the story. Even Bob Ryan, a legendary sports journalist, talked about the lack of interest back in 2012. This problem isn't new. It has been shadowing women's basketball for decades. But here's the twist. For the first time ever, the solution existed. Caitlin Clark injected life, excitement, and curiosity into the sport. Reporters who used to ignore women's basketball were suddenly emailing teams asking for credentials. International reporters from the UK, Africa, and Asia made plans to cover her. Even a journalist Brennan met at the Masters, one of the world's most prestigious golf tournaments, said he was planning to cover Caitlin Clark at the Olympics. You don't get that kind of global interest often, but USA Basketball didn't seem to understand how rare and valuable this moment was. Then Christine Brennan brought up the 1992 Dream Team, the team that changed basketball forever. The team that turned the NBA into a global empire. The team that introduced basketball to entire continents. That team didn't just win gold. It rewrote the future of the sport. Brennan said Caitlin Clark could have been that moment for women's basketball. Her presence alone would have sold jerseys around the world. Number 22 USA jerseys in Africa, Europe, the Middle East and Asia. That money could have gone back into youth development programs, international outreach camps, and growth projects that would have expanded the sport for decades. A single player could have changed everything. But once again, USA Basketball chose to prioritize internal politics over long-term growth. And this isn't even the first time they've mishandled her. When she was 17, they had her coming off the bench behind players who didn't come close to her long-term ceiling. She was already showing elite talent, already displaying the passing vision and shooting range that would later break records. But somehow she wasn't seen as a starter. Instead of cultivating her, they minimized her. Instead of recognizing a generational talent, they treated her like a role player. Fast forward to now, and they did it again, not by benching her, but by pretending she doesn't exist in their marketing. This pattern is too consistent to ignore. It reveals something deeper about USA Basketball. They don't understand their own audience. They don't understand where the sport is heading. They don't understand what drives growth. And here's the most ironic part. The WNBA just negotiated one of the most important CBAs in league history. Higher salaries, better travel, more marketing commitments. And that negotiation only happened because the league finally had leverage. They could finally prove that women's basketball was profitable. Ratings were up, attendance was up, and national attention was up. And whose numbers drove that leverage? Caitlin Clark's. Every player in the league benefited financially from her presence. Even the players who don't like her. Even the players who pretend she's overhyped. Even the players who refuse to admit how much she changed the sport. Whether they acknowledge it or not, they are receiving bonuses, sponsorships, and improved benefits because Clark brought a massive, unprecedented audience into the WNBA. And now, USA Basketball is heading toward the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, which will be one of the biggest events in American sports history. The platform will be huge, the audience will be huge, and the timing is perfect to push women's basketball into a new global era. But momentum is fragile. It doesn't last forever. It disappears the moment fans feel ignored or disconnected. Casual fans, the same ones Clark brought in, need to see the player who introduced them to the sport actually featured and celebrated on the biggest stage. If USA Basketball continues to downplay her, those fans will simply walk away because they came for her. They came because she made the sport exciting again. They didn't come for politics. They didn't come for tradition. They didn't come for the old system. They came for Caitlin Clark. And losing that new audience would push women's basketball backwards again, after spending a year moving forward at full speed. That's why fans are angry. That's why the media is stunned. That's why international outlets are calling Christine Brennan for interviews. This isn't just about a graphic. This is about an organization missing the biggest opportunity it has ever had. This is about a sport desperately needing modernization, marketing intelligence, and leadership capable of adapting to what the market wants. This is about a global moment slipping away because of outdated thinking and internal biases. Caitlin Clark isn't perfect. She's young. She's still developing. She still has weaknesses in her game. But none of that changes the fact that she is the single most important figure in the growth of women's basketball since the 1990s. She is the only player who can turn a training camp graphic into an international news story. She is the only player who can make casual fans argue about Team USA selections. She is the only player who moves the needle in a measurable, undeniable way. So, when USA Basketball excluded her, they didn't just insult her. They insulted every fan she brought into the sport. Every young girl who started playing because of her. Every international viewer who finally cared. every reporter who decided to cover women's basketball for the first time. And every person who believed this was the moment the sport would finally reach global popularity. The truth is simple. Organizations don't get many moments like this. Momentum doesn't show up every year. Generational stars don't appear often. And when they do, smart organizations build around them. They capitalize on the moment. They adapt. They evolve. But USA basketball seems stuck. Stuck in old habits, stuck in old thinking, stuck in a system that doesn't know how to embrace the future. If they want to fix this, they need to start by acknowledging the mistake, not doubling down on it. They need to redesign their promotional materials, involve Caitlin Clark in their marketing, build campaigns that feature the players who actually bring in new audiences, and understand that the sport has changed forever. They cannot treat Caitlin Clark the way they treated stars of the past. They cannot expect fans to stick around if they ignore the reason those fans exist in the first place. They cannot expect global growth if they refuse to showcase the player who can drive that growth. Because if they waste this moment, it will never come back. And 10 years from now, they will look back and realize they let the biggest opportunity in the history of women's basketball slip through their fingers, simply because they didn't understand the power of a generational star standing right in front of them.